Ukrainian aviation now dominates the skies over Ukraine, while Russia's once vaunted Air Force is bogged down and hesitant to engage due to the constant threat from Ukrainian air defenses. At the same time, Russian air defense systems themselves are being systematically destroyed across occupied territories, leaving critical infrastructure and supply routes exposed. In the latest strike, a Ukrainian aircraft dropped a GBU-62 precision bomb on a key road bridge used for Russian logistics in the occupied part of the Luhansk region, severely disrupting enemy supply lines and underscoring Ukraine's growing air superiority. Footage of a Ukrainian FPV strike on a vehicle carrying Russian soldiers in Belgorod region, filmed from inside by the occupiers themselves. Flying Skull unit destroyed Russian transport on the Pokrovsk direction, hitting 7 motorcycles, 4 occupiers, and a quad bike carrying 4 Russians. Ukrainian FPV drones have become a primary threat to Russian forces. Cheap, agile, and hard to detect, they penetrate air defenses to strike vehicles, artillery, and supply depots with pinpoint accuracy. Used solo or in swarms by skilled pilots, they inflict high equipment losses, disrupt logistics and morale, and force costly shifts in enemy tactics. A shopping center area was struck in occupied Donetsk, and Russian propaganda immediately used it as an example of an attack on civilian targets. But actually, Ukrainian FP-1 drones struck a warehouse in Sigma shopping center in occupied Donetsk, where Russian forces were reportedly assembling and storing Molniya kamikaze drones. Footage shows Russian soldiers at the supermarket days before the strike.
Так, все, доставили кубики. Ребята приехали, забирают.
Благодарим жителей республики и ветеранов Афгана, событий Чечни за предоставленное имущество. Победа будет за нами.
Russia is reportedly preparing to carry out a sanitization of the state, to purge officials, military personnel, and members of the media and public who are suspected of undermining the war against Ukraine. The Russian journalist and war blogger Anastasia Kashavarova reports that a purge is being prepared against numerous individuals. As well as officials and soldiers, it seems likely from what she says that various war bloggers will also face prison or being sent to the front. According to my information, our security forces, intelligence agencies are monitoring approximately 70 to 80 cases. The legal charges against these individuals include false or distorted information about the state of affairs at the front/economic level, discrediting the armed forces, real discrediting, meaning deliberate lies and fabrications, theft of humanitarian aid, embezzlement and misappropriation of funds collected from individuals, various fraudulent schemes involving aid to the special military operation, and the public release of military personnel and unit data. There are also more serious offenses: working for the enemy under the guise of aid to the SVO and a pseudo-patriotic agenda. Security forces have been instructed to strictly clean up corruption both in the regions and at the federal level. Hundreds of officials, vice governors, ministers, department heads are under investigation and have been convicted. Hundreds of military personnel, generals, colonels, and majors have also been convicted. The fight against embezzlers and traitors is underway at all levels. It's being waged both openly and behind the scenes. Stealing from the state during wartime is unforgivable. All cases that had previously been kept quiet have begun to be reopened. Naturally, such a purge will, and has already, impacted the public and media sector of the SVO. Sending someone to the SVO or labeling them a foreign agent won't end the matter. Everything is moving toward gradually curbing unruly behavior everywhere. The security forces have a difficult job right now. There are few of them, and the SVO has exposed and continues to expose more and more schemers who are profiting from the motherland. However, there is one point that cannot be overlooked in our imperfect system. Security forces, which have been given carte blanche to fight corruption, treason, betrayal, and theft, must not become a tool in the hands of those who are themselves corrupt. The war between the power structures and the cleansing of the country and society of real criminals and saboteurs must not turn into a witch hunt against inconvenient but true patriots who expose loopholes created by someone very high up. But I think that the president will not allow the cleansing of the state of criminal and hostile elements to turn into a witch hunt. Victim blaming. Putin's advisor Ushakov complains that Ukraine isn't ready for peace or to advance the so-called Anchorage agreements. He says people need to be convinced to fight for agreements, but admits no one is buying it. He also claims Europe's unity against Russia is rooted in hatred. Wonder why?
If we talk about resolving the Ukrainian conflict, the guiding star is the agreements reached by the two presidents in Anchorage.
The Kiev regime does not want, apparently.
Doesn't want to, so to advance these agreements, we need to fight. We need to persuade people, so to speak. So far, not everyone is convinced, so to speak. But what is the basis for a possible settlement? That's for sure.
Well, the Kiev regime is one thing, but the European reckless policy, can the American side somehow influence it?
Americans can, of course, influence, and they do. But there is such a degree of hatred, I would even say, a united hatred of Europeans towards Russia, that it's hard to drill through this hatred, even using an American drill.
In previous years, well, we never encountered such large-scale lying at the highest level. They lie blatantly.
I myself am surprised, firstly, by the extent of the outright lying. And, of course, I am surprised that against the backdrop of this deceit, against the backdrop of hatred, Europeans could consolidate like this. That is, I could not have imagined before that Europe would speak with one voice regarding Russia and in an extremely belligerent, extremely negative manner towards our country.
At least 314 Belarusians who fought on the side of Russia have been killed at the front line. The list was published by the project I Want to Live, through which the Russian military communicates with the armed forces of Ukraine. The Russian authorities conceal both their losses and the deaths of mercenaries. However, the 314 dead we have already identified is a huge number for any country. For comparison, 723 Belarusians died during the 10 years of the Afghan war. The project notes. According to their data, 1,338 Belarusian citizens fought against Ukraine, and almost 1 in 4 of them has already died. The actual number of dead and missing is likely much higher. The analysts also noted that the oldest Belarusian killed was 63 years old, and the youngest was 18. On average, it takes about 6.5 months from the signing of a contract until a soldier is officially declared dead, according to estimates. The largest number of losses was recorded among Belarusians who served in the 150 Motorized Rifle Division of the Russian Armed Forces. Many of them were recruited in Russian prisons. I Want to Live is a state project of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, which aims to help Russian servicemen who do not want to participate in the war unleashed by Russia against Ukraine, safely surrender to the Ukrainian armed forces and save their lives. As a reminder, on October 7th, a 4-day mobilization readiness exercise began in Belarus.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.